As we know, March Madness normally means college basketball or weather, but in 2020, March Madness has more to do with viruses and crazy stock markets, right? So we've been responding to phone calls and emails from plan participants in 401ks and 403bs that we work with. And every once in a while, we run across a really good question, and our response, I think, would help other people. So we're just recording some of our responses. So I'll read the email and then what our response is to this. First of all, the email says, "Hi, Troy. I just finished reading the info that you sent to our employees. Thank you for your perspective and advice during this time. There is the possibility that I may be about 2 years away from fully retiring. I might fully retire at that stage or possibly go half time. Based on that timing, any suggestions for me?" So this is a really good question. And it does change a lot, right? If you're really, really close to retirement. So the closer you are, the more careful you have to be with how appropriately diversified you are. So our response has to do with just kind of the crazy markets, but also in their particular situation, crazy times in the market, but not as crazy as you might suppose. Market corrections are normal. Bear markets are normal, though every time it happens, the media acts like the sky is falling, right? When we say hang in there, don't make any rash moves or overcorrections, don't jump out of the market and move to cash right now, that's just good long-term investment advice. And I stand by that advice. Making changes to your allocations like rebalancing, as in shifting away from the stock market towards bond market or cash or whatever, that should only be done if there are changes in your lifestyle, which means growing older or becoming more conservative, not changes in the market. In other words, rebalancing and being appropriate with your balance, your diversification, that's prudent. But rebalancing should be prompted by growing older and not prompted by drops in the market. That's why we use target date portfolios, by the way. We either build custom target date portfolios for some of our clients, or we use the off-the-shelf target dates from a particular mutual fund family. But we like the fact that those shift as you grow older. They become more conservative. They shift you to a place where when you're at the end of the journey, you're not unduly exposed to market risk. Even when they do shift, we're still not talking about shifting 100% to cash. A lot of people don't realize that, but your target date, even at age 65, is not 100% cash. We're talking about shifting incrementally and purposefully as you get close to retirement. Young investors should be 100% in the stock market, and even in this current stock market. In fact, I'd say especially in this current stock market. Older investors should be less exposed to the stock market, maybe only 60% or 50% or 40%, or in some cases only 30%, but it's still not shifting to 0%. And your particular situation, so now I'm speaking to this particular person who's 2 years away from retirement, and your particular situation, given that your window until retirement is only 2 years, you probably should be pulling back from the market. But since you're in a target date fund, that's already happening for you. See, for this particular employee, I actually verified that he actually was in the 2025 target date fund, which means that he's 5 years away from retiring. His money is right on track with where it should be if he's going to retire in the year 2025. Now, I said you could become more conservative by shifting to the 2020 fund and become even more conservative, but 2025 is not an irrational place for you to be. If you'd like to override the system, which you certainly can, you can pull out of the market even quicker. We just don't recommend that you pull out of the market completely, but that's your prerogative. I still would not recommend that you do it all at once. Let's say, for example, that you were like 50-50 between stocks and bonds. What might a person do if they didn't want to be that exposed to the stock market, 50% exposed to the stock market? One option would be to shift a bit of the money towards cash and bonds today, and a bit more tomorrow, and a bit more the next day, kind of graduated steps, almost like dollar cost averaging out of the market. Moving it all at once, unless you're really, really lucky to pick that one day when you should move everything to cash, which, by the way, would have been mid-February, can be really, really dangerous. Moving everything to cash, remember that's not the goal anyway. So the goal is to shift from 50-50 to 45-55 to 40-60 to 35-65 to 30-70, and to kind of a place where the risk is what you're comfortable with. Keep in mind, there are three responses to the market at any given time. You can hold, which is do nothing. You can buy or you can sell. Now, in this particular market, which is down sharply since mid-February, and continues to fluctuate up and down, we had a fantastic day in the market today. It wasn't so good yesterday. The majority of people, particularly long-term investors in 401k plans, should do absolutely nothing, except maybe confirm that they're appropriately diversified in the right portfolio. Short-term investors, market timers, should be buying. I mean, some things are at an all-time low right now. So this is the time to get back into the market. If you had cash, you want to push that in. But no one should be trying to sell or move to cash when the market's down. The only people selling are those who don't understand how the market works, or those that are responding to fear, or in some extreme cases, those that are seeing a bit of a profit over when they got into that market and they're wanting to capture some cash to time the market, get back in, everything like that. But do nothing if you're the typical 401k investor. Buy if you're a market timer, sell if you want to lose money and lock in losses. That's why we're telling people to just hang in there. Now, I realize it's not easy to do that, but you'll be glad later when cooler heads and prudence prevailed and you didn't do anything at all. That's even for someone who's just a couple of years away from retirement. If this particular individual had been self-directing, our advice would have been different. Our advice would have been you need to be in a diversified portfolio. But in this particular situation, this person actually was in a diversified portfolio and they were mostly out of the market, which they didn't realize. And they're probably exactly where they should be to be a few years away from retirement. So hope that helps. Maybe that's your situation and you're wondering what to do in a market like this. I'd say hold on. The most dangerous place to get hurt on a roller coaster is trying to get out of the cart in the middle of the ride. So just hang on for now.